ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves, because what you're about to hear will flip the entire internet upside down. Imagine this. Lil Durk, the man who built his name on loyalty, street codes, and unshakable confidence, completely shattered in front of flashing cameras, paparazzi lenses, and millions of judging eyes online. Now ask yourself, what could possibly reduce one of hip-hop's coldest figures to a broken man? What scandal could hit him so hard that he can't hold back the tears, the rage, and humiliation? Well, tonight, the mask comes off, and the truth is uglier than anyone imagined. Asian Doll. Yes, the very woman who has been at the center of triangle after triangle, drama after drama, has once again lit the internet on fire. And this time, she didn't do it in private. Oh no, she did it in the boldest, loudest, and most humiliating way possible. Picture the scene. King Von and Asian Doll, arm in arm, celebrating their so-called happy ending, toasting to their new chapter with laughter that cut deeper than any knife, while Lil Durk stood on the sidelines, betrayed, blindsided, and left to face the cameras alone. And here's the kicker. This wasn't just gossip whispered in dark corners or speculated on fan forums. This was a public display, a theatrical humiliation, staged almost as if the entire thing was designed to destroy Durk's image in real time. Was this revenge? Was this love? Or was this a carefully orchestrated takedown to strip Durk of the very power and respect he's been building for years? Stick around, because we're about to unravel every hidden layer of this betrayal, dig into the dirty secrets nobody else wants to touch, and expose why this celebration might just be the biggest scandal the hip-hop world has ever seen. When the story first broke, the internet was buzzing with whispers, screenshots, and blurry clips that no one knew whether to believe or dismiss as another round of clout chasing. But as more footage leaked and as more so-called insiders began to spill, the picture grew clearer and darker. At the center of it all stood Lil Durk, the Chicago rapper who has built an empire of influence, respect, and almost untouchable reputation. But even empires crumble when the betrayal cuts deep enough. Let's rewind. For months, rumors about Asian Doll's tangled connections between Durk and King Von were dismissed as nothing more than clickbait. Fans thought, there's no way she played Durk like that. Not after everything. But behind the closed doors of celebrity mansions, luxury SUVs, and VIP booths, a storyline was brewing so toxic it makes soap operas look tame, according to anonymous sources close to the situation. Yes, the same ones who mysteriously always manage to have receipts. Asian Doll had been quietly nurturing her real happiness with King Von, while simultaneously leading Durk to believe he was a man in control, the man she respected, the man who might even be the father of her child. And while Durk was juggling studio sessions, court dates, and business deals, Von and Asian were allegedly building their own twisted fairy tale, away from the spotlight, but never too far that it couldn't explode in his face. Now, what makes this scandal even more sinister is the timing. The so-called celebration that broke Durk wasn't an intimate dinner or a private Instagram story. It was a full-blown event. Bottle service, balloons, flashing cameras, the works. Fans described it as a victory parade, with Asian Doll holding her glass high and King Von standing proudly beside her, while whispers of Durk got played rippled across the room. Some even claimed there were chants. Yes, chants, mocking Durk for being left in the dark. And Durk? He walked into the scene, unaware, thinking he was about to witness support, loyalty, maybe even love. Instead, he was confronted with a reality so humiliating it could only be described as a public execution of his pride. Eyewitnesses swear his face went pale the moment he saw Asian and Von together, celebrating as if they'd won some kind of championship. One guest even claimed it was like watching someone's heart shatter in slow motion. The cameras didn't miss a thing. But let's not pretend this came out of nowhere. If you've been paying attention, you know Asian Doll has a long history of playing the media like a puppet. From feuds on Twitter to messy Instagram lives where she half confesses and half denies, she thrives on chaos. And King Von, a man who, even after his tragic past headlines, still somehow finds himself immortalized as a figure of raw loyalty, the one who plays by his own rules. Put those two together, and you've got a formula for disaster. And for Durk, the disaster hit like a train wreck he couldn't avoid. So here's the big question. Why would Asian Doll risk it all? Why would she gamble with Durk's trust, his reputation, and his entire fan base just to align herself publicly with Vaughn? Some speculate about clout. After all, controversy keeps her name buzzing louder than her music. Others believe it's revenge, a twisted payback for being sidelined or dismissed too many times by Durk's camp. And a few, the hopeless romantics of the internet, insist it's genuine love, that Asian and Vaughn were simply meant to be, no matter how messy the fallout. But let's not sugarcoat it. The optics of the celebration were brutal. Photos circulated online of Vaughn holding Asian close, whispering in her ear while she laughed, her smile brighter than it's ever been in public. Meanwhile, Durk, caught in the background of several shots, looked broken, his eyes heavy, his posture defeated. Social media had a field day, with hashtags like hashtag Durk down, hashtag Vaughn wins, and hashtag Asian exposed trending within hours. Twitter timelines were flooded with memes. TikToks dissected every frame of the leaked footage, and YouTube reaction channels cranked out content faster than you could click refresh. And let's talk about the so-called baby celebration. That detail alone sent shockwaves through the community. Asian doll raising her glass to toast not just a relationship, but a baby with Vaughn? The implications were nuclear. Was this the same baby Durk was led to believe was his? Was this the moment the lie finally detonated? Anonymous guests at the event claim Asian made a bold announcement. One that left jaws on the floor. This is Vaughn's baby, and it's time the world knew the truth. Imagine being Durk in that moment. Imagine realizing you've been the punchline of a joke so carefully played out in front of the entire industry. And as always, when drama like this erupts, the internet divides into camps. Team Durk calls a betrayal the highest order, urging him to cut ties with Asian once and for all and focus on rebuilding his image. Team Vaughn celebrates it as karma, arguing that Durk's past actions caught up with him. And Asian's fans? They spin it as empowerment, as a woman finally choosing her truth regardless of the collateral damage. But while fans argue online, the reality for Durk is far more devastating. Sources close to him claim he hasn't been the same since, that his trust circle has shrunk to almost nothing, that he's more paranoid than ever about who's really loyal, and that behind the tough exterior, he's grappling with the kind of heartbreak money and fame can't fix. One insider even revealed, Durk's fighting demons right now. This wasn't just a breakup. This was an ambush. And make no mistake, the industry is watching closely. Rivals smell blood in the water, opportunists circle like vultures, and fans are left wondering if this could be the scandal that finally cracks Durk's empire. But if you think the humiliation stops here, you're dead wrong. Because as shocking as this public betrayal was, it's only the tip of the iceberg. The deeper we dig, the uglier it gets. There are receipts, there are private conversations, and there are betrayals that make the celebration look like child's play. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to hear what comes next. If you thought Durk's nightmare ended at that humiliating celebration, you're mistaken. That was just the surface-level spectacle, the loud, messy explosion everyone on social media saw. But behind closed doors, the betrayal runs so much deeper than what the cameras captured. Let's start with the whispers about the receipts. Screenshots of late-night messages between Asian doll and Vaughn began to circulate in private group chats long before the public celebration. Industry insiders claim Vaughn was proudly showing them off to his closest circle, bragging that Asian was all his, even while the world assumed she was loyal to Durk. The messages weren't just casual flirtation either. They were explicit, intimate, filled with inside jokes and nicknames that left no doubt about the level of their relationship. And here's the real kicker. Some of those messages reportedly overlap with the same time frame Durk believed he was the one in her corner. Imagine thinking you're getting those goodnight texts or FaceTime calls meant for you, only to find out she's hitting send twice, playing both sides of the board like a seasoned chess master. Now, many people are asking, how long has this been going on? That's where things get murky. Some sources claim Asian and Vaughn had been linked even before Durk's name was thrown into the equation, that their bond wasn't new, just hidden. Others believe it was a calculated move once Asian realized attaching herself to Vaughn would not only give her a real love story narrative, but also a built-in fan base still mourning his legacy. And when you mix grief with loyalty, you get a following that's fiercely protective. But regardless of when it started, The baby situation is what turned the scandal into a full-blown catastrophe. The timeline doesn't add up neatly, and that's what has fans spiraling into conspiracy mode. Some argue the math makes it impossible for the child to be Vaughn's, while others insist Asian herself confirmed it during that toast. Did she miscalculate? Did she intentionally blur the lines? Or was it always about making Durk question everything he thought he knew? Let's pause here and address something important. In the rap industry, reputation is currency. Trust, loyalty, image. They're worth more than millions in the bank because they determine your longevity. Durk has always carried himself as the boss, the shot caller, the one who commands respect both on and off the mic. But what happens when that image cracks? When people start to whisper that you got played, not just privately but in front of the entire culture, rivals don't just laugh, they pounce. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Quietly but noticeably, other rappers and crews have been using the scandal as ammunition. Subtle lines in songs, cryptic tweets, even shady Instagram captions. It's all there if you look closely. The unspoken message? If Durk can get clowned like this, maybe he's not as untouchable as he wants us to think. And in an industry where perception can make or break deals, that kind of narrative is poison. But here's the thing about Asian Doll. Love her or hate her, she knows how to play the media. In the weeks following the celebration, instead of laying low or offering clarifications, she doubled down, posting cryptic captions like, "Truth hurts, but freedom feels better," or going live and smirking whenever fans asked about Vaughn. It was all fuel to the fire. She thrives in chaos because chaos keeps her trending. And when you're trending, the bookings, the sponsorships, and the features don't stop rolling in. Meanwhile, Durk's inner circle is reportedly fractured. Some of his closest allies are said to be furious, not just at Asian, but at him for letting it slide too long. They believe he ignored the warning signs, brushing off gossip that could have prepared him for fallout. One insider spilled. Durk didn't want to hear it. He thought he had it all under control. Now look, he's questioning everyone. And speaking of questioning, fans have noticed a shift in Durk's own social media behavior. Once quick to post flashy updates or snippets of new music, he's gone noticeably quieter, more reserved. The photos he does share? Darker, more brooding, less about celebration and more about survival. As one fan tweeted, "This ain't Durk the boss, this is Durk the broken man." Now let's circle back to Vaughn, because his role in this triangle is equally complicated. For many fans, Vaughn represents unshakable loyalty. The guy who was always 10 toes down for his crew. So seeing him front and center in what looks like a betrayal of Durk, that's a narrative some people simply refuse to accept. Instead, they paint it as karma. That Vaughn was just taking back what was owed to him. That Durk had it coming for reasons only insiders really know. And in a culture where revenge stories sell, that framing has given the scandal even more oxygen. But what about the music? That's the part people don't talk about enough. Every scandal bleeds into artistry, and this one is no exception. Already, snippets of unreleased verses from both camps have surfaced online, and fans are dissecting every lyric for hidden messages. Did Vaughn leave behind bars about Asian that are only now making sense? Is Durk about to clap back in the studio, turning pain into platinum? Industry veterans know that some of the most iconic diss tracks in history were born from heartbreak and betrayal. Could this be the spark for Durk's next era, or the nail in the coffin of his reign? And let's not forget the business side. Brand partnerships, label negotiations, festival bookings. All of it hangs in the balance when your name is attached to scandal. Sponsors don't want the mess, but they can't resist the clicks. Labels hate the drama, but they love the streams. It's a double-edged sword, and Durk is stuck in the middle of it, trying to balance damage control with maintaining momentum. The most chilling part of this entire saga, though, isn't the betrayal or even the baby rumors. It's the idea that this was all orchestrated. Yes, you heard that right. Some conspiracy theories suggest the celebration wasn't spontaneous at all. It was planned. A calculated ambush designed to strip Durk of his pride in the most public way possible. From the timing of the announcement to the presence of cameras, conveniently capturing every angle, it reeks of strategy. If that's true, then this wasn't just a betrayal, it was warfare. And that's where things get really dangerous. Because in the rap industry, humiliation isn't just personal, it's political. It shifts alliances, sparks feuds, and in the worst cases, ignites conflicts that go far beyond music. Already, whispers are spreading about retaliations, about silent moves being made behind the scenes. Nobody wants to say it out loud, but the tension is there, hanging heavy in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. So where does this leave us? On one side, you have Asian Doll and Vaughn, painted as either star-crossed lovers or master manipulators, depending on who you ask. On the other, you have Durk, once the unshakable boss, now the wounded king fighting to protect his crown. And caught in the middle? The fans, the blogs, the entire culture, feeding on every update like it's oxygen. But if you think this is as bad as it gets, if you think Durk has already endured the ultimate humiliation, brace yourself. Because the next layer of the scandal peels back secrets so raw, so unfiltered. They make everything we talk about so far look like child's play. And trust me, when those receipts drop, the internet won't just buzz, it'll explode. And here's where the story goes from shocking to downright explosive. Because just when fans thought the worst had already happened, the so-called real receipts began to surface. And these weren't your average blurry screenshots or half-baked DMs. No, this was the kind of evidence that leaves no room for denial. We're talking full conversations, timestamp photos, and even voice notes that allegedly prove Asian Doll was weaving an intricate web of lies. According to insiders, some of these leaks came straight from Vaughn's inner circle. People who had grown tired of keeping secrets and decided it was time for the truth to come out. And the truth? It painted a picture of betrayal so detailed, so ruthless, it shook even the most loyal fans. One of the leaked voice notes reportedly captured Asian laughing about how easy it was to keep Durk distracted, bragging that while he was busy handling court cases and label meetings, she and Vaughn were building something real. Another clip supposedly had her admitting she knew the baby rumors would drive the internet crazy, that stirring up chaos was part of the plan. Whether these clips were authentic or doctored is still up for debate, but one thing's for sure, they ignited a firestorm. Social media timelines turned into battlegrounds. On one side, hashtag Team Durk flooded comment sections with rage, demanding accountability and blasting Asian for exploiting Vaughn's name for clout. On the other, hashtag Team Vaughn insisted Durk was simply reaping karma, spinning the narrative that he'd wronged too many people for too long, and that this was a universe evening the score. And then there were Asian's diehard supporters, doubling down on the idea that she was just living her truth, refusing to be silenced by Durk's power or influence. But let's zoom in on Durk himself, because this is where things get painfully human. For someone who has built an entire career on strength, survival, and dominance, this kind of public breakdown is more than embarrassing. It's dangerous. Sources close to him revealed that after the leaks, Durk went completely off the grid for days. No calls, no appearances, no posts. His team allegedly scrambled to keep business deals afloat while he dealt with emotional wreckage privately. One insider described it bluntly. It broke him in ways people don't understand. This wasn't just about love. It was about trust, loyalty, image. Everything he built got shaken. And the paranoia? It only grew worse. Durk reportedly began questioning everyone around him, even longtime friends and collaborators. If Asian and Vaughn could blindside him so thoroughly, who else might be plotting behind his back? That's the kind of mindset that isolates people, and isolation in this industry can be deadly. Meanwhile, Asian Doll wasn't backing down. In fact, she seemed to be reveling in the chaos. Paparazzi spotted her stepping out with a smug smile, rocking designer fits, and posting cryptic captions like, "Unbothered energy only." In interviews, she danced around direct questions, never outright denying the allegations, but never confirming them either. That kind of vagueness is calculated. It keeps her name in every headline while making her seem untouchable. And then came the rumors of secret recordings. Supposedly, Vaughn had been documenting moments with Asian, almost like he knew these tapes would be powerful leverage down the line. Clips of them together in private spaces, laughing, planning, even hinting at a future, were said to exist, waiting to be unleashed. If those recordings ever see daylight, the internet won't just react, it'll detonate. But here's the chilling part. For Durk, this isn't just about embarrassment anymore. It's about survival. In the rap world, weakness invites predators. Rivals are already circling, dropping subliminals in songs, mocking him with sly emojis, and seizing on every chance to chip away at his credibility. When an empire cracks, vultures arrive fast. Now, let's talk about the industry consequences. Major brands that once lined up to collaborate with Durk are said to be hesitating, worried about the instability of his image. Promoters are second-guessing festival bookings, wondering if the scandal will overshadow the performance. And behind the scenes, label executives are reportedly urging him to spin the narrative with music. Basically, turn heartbreak into a hit. Because in this business, pain sells. And you better believe the fans are hungry for it. Twitter threads are filled with speculation about an incoming diss track. TikTok creators are making countdowns, predicting lyrics, and piecing together what Durk might say if he finally addresses Asian and Vaughn head-on. Some even believe he's already recorded a response and is just waiting for the perfect moment to drop it. A moment that would shift the spotlight back in his favor. But here's the million-dollar question. Will Durk retaliate? Or will he let silence speak louder than any verse could? That decision could define the rest of his career. If he goes nuclear, he risks escalating a feud that could spiral beyond music. If he stays silent, he risks looking weak, like he's let himself be walked over. It's a lose-lose situation, and that's exactly why the internet can't look away. Now, let's not ignore the darker undercurrent of all this, because while the drama plays out on social media, the streets are buzzing with tension. Old grudges are being reopened, alliances are shifting, and whispers of retaliation are growing louder. Nobody wants to say it directly, but history has shown us that when pride, betrayal, and rap politics collide, the fallout can be violent. And that's the part fans fear most, that this love triangle turned public humiliation could ignite something much bigger, much bloodier than anyone ever anticipated. And yet, through it all, Asian Doll continues to hold her head high, positioning herself as the woman who dared to defy the narrative. Whether you see her as a villain, a victim, or a mastermind, there's no denying she cemented herself as the center of a storm. Every move she makes is dissected. Every word she says becomes a headline. She's not just surviving the scandal, she's thriving in it. But Durk? For him, the road ahead is filled with uncertainty. Can he rebuild his image, restore his trust circle, and remind the world why he's one of Chicago's most respected figures? Or has his betrayal cracked the foundation too deeply, leaving him vulnerable in ways he's never been before? The truth is, this story isn't over. In fact, it may only be beginning. More leaks are rumored to be waiting in the shadows. More voices are preparing to speak up. And as long as there are secrets to uncover, the internet will be right there, refreshing timelines, hungry for the next piece of drama. So buckle up, because if the last few weeks have taught us anything, it's that in the world of rap, nothing stays buried forever. Betrayals resurface. Receipts drop when you least expect them. And the empire you thought was unshakable can crumble in a single night. For Lil Durk, Asian Doll, and King Von's legacy, this scandal will go down as one of the most unforgettable, messy, and painful chapters in hip-hop history. And the question that lingers over everything is this: who really won? Because in a game built on loyalty and pride, when betrayal cuts this deep, the truth is everybody loses. And there you have it. Betrayal, heartbreak, secrets, and a scandal that's got the entire industry talking. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Asian Doll really played both sides just for clout? Was King Von truly the love she chose over loyalty to Durk? Or is there more to this story than we know? And most importantly, can Durk bounce back from this? Or is this the crack in his empire that changes everything forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. I'll be reading every single one. And if you're just as hooked on these wild twists as we are, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next deep dive into hip-hop's most shocking stories. Because trust me, if you thought this was messy, what's coming next will leave you speechless. Stay tuned,